Welcome to the Sanctum, everybody. This is AL, and today we're going to go over the Spirit Keepers Tarot, the Vitruvian edition by Benebell. I'm excited because I've had this for a while, and I have been sitting on it, like literally, like I have had it, and I have been hiding it. So, first things first. I adore this. I have the original SKT. Look, you want to know how much I have I've been holding on to this? I have not even removed the original holder off. So yeah, I got this and left this in the original case. Did not unwrap it until just recently, and I just took that off and I bought my book that goes with it, which you're not going to see right now. Look, and I got the little white book too. I'm so excited. I have the original Spirit Keepers Tarot. That deck is amazing, and I love it. So when Benebell said she was going to do a second deck, and this one be a little bit different, couple different cards, a little bit difference in, I was like, yeah, I want to have it, and I want to, see it and get the differences. So I got excited. So this time the decks were named, and no, you cannot know the name of my deck. So nanny nanny boo boo. But I'm showing you the inside of the, and I love the fact that these all have jewel tone on it. It was like the prettiest thing. Like when I unwrapped it and I saw the colors, I was like, oh, look at the color. Oh my goodness gracious, it's all mine. Yeah, I had a moment, and you're just gonna have to deal with me because it was the most beautiful thing ever. So one thing that you guys probably do remember from the Spirit Keepers Tarot is that the zero card, the zero card has 3 cards. That has not changed. One is slightly redesigned. Well, completely redesigned, actually. So you have the Initiate, the Seeker, and then the Keeper, which I do love. Do I know which one I'm drawn to? Probably the Keeper, although I do love the Seeker one as well. So I am impressed. So that would be the full card. And then after that we have the Magus, the Priestess, the Empress, which I still love that card. The Emperor, which, oh my god, look at that. That is so freaking awesome. The Holy See, the Lovers, my falcon, it's my dragon, and my phoenix. I love you. The Chariot, Force, Erudite, the Wheel of Life, which I have to admit, that is like the most outstanding piece. The Chancellor, the Outlaw, the Reaper. Look at the coloring on that. I mean, it's like you just want to go, oh, but I love you. I love the way that the dark and the light plays against these cards. The Angel. The black and white, it's so funny, is that with the other deck, the black and the white, they are stark. And in some ways they don't stand out as much. They do, but they don't. But for this, the way that she used the coloring here is so much more of an intensity. So I really am enjoying these. The Healer. This is probably one of my all-time favorite. It reminds me of an anime look, and yet at the same time, it is so uniquely beautiful. The Necromancer. The Warrior. I love that. The Apocalypse. The New World Order. We get into the sacred fire, the holy water, the sacred cinnabar, the bird of life. And then we get into the twos, the threes, and then the archangels, which are also some of my favorites. Archangel Commander, the Archangel of Mysteries, which is probably, out of all of the archangels, I have favorites out of all of them, so it's kind of funny. Like, I love the Archangel of Glory, but the Archangel of Healing has always been like my calling. But the Archangel of Mysteries is the one that my heart always stops on. So it's kind of like, but I love her. I love her. Then you get to like the shields. Now, the one thing about the shields is that they are beauty, but I don't mean beauty like in like looks. I mean beauty as this personification of grace and spirit that is amazing. So like the golden shield, and usually I'm not a gold fan, so I was like, but I love it. The ivory shield, which is amazing. The scarlet shield, and then the ebony shield. And it's so funny because the ebony shield, which normally I would be like, reminds me of a Celtic heritage moment, and it was like, yeah. And it's so funny. So like the golden and the ebony are probably my two big favorites. So go figure. Which normally in the scheme of things would not normally play out that way. The shinings, which are your kind of like your knights of sorts. I love the way that they're done here. The flame, the dew, the winds, and the quarry. I just want to take them home and keep them in my room. I have not grown up, and I'm having a My Little Pony moment for my niece, who's 9, and I'm just there. And it's really, really sad, but it was like, that's the first thing I thought of was like, yep, they're going with me. I love this. The Stronghold of Flame, and of the Grail. This one made me cry. The Zephyrs, and the Veil. And then we get back into the 4s, the 5s, the 6s, the 7s, the 8s. I love that. The 8 of Orbs. The 9 of Chalices. And I love the symbols used on the chalices. And then the 10s. So let me, and I'm going to show you the back, because the back is magnificent. It's so different from the other one, and yet it is so intricate, and I just want to like, I just want to cry because I love the intricacy there. It just makes me want to scream, because I am so not that talented. So Benebell. Benebell's decks. Benebell is amazing. I love Benebell's work. I take a lot of Benebell's courses. She is probably one of the few practitioners out there that I can honestly say amazes me with her insight and her dedication and her learning, and her sharing. Her and Ethany and Teresa Reed all are outstanding. I actually, in fact, have her Bone Oracle deck. I had it made for me, and I had it made for one of my best friends had it put together, and he actually uses it every day at work. I taught him how to use it. I got him the book, gone through. He's coming into his own abilities and talents. So it's kind of like our learning thing together. I'm teaching the tarot, which that's kind of fun, sort of. But when he saw my Spirit Tarot's deck, he was like, I like this. I was like, and he's like, yeah, I do. And I said, okay. Then he saw the Vitruvian deck, and he's like, it's not unwrapped. And I said, no, do not touch it. It's for the baby. And he's like, you aren't having any more babies. I said, no, it's for me, the baby. He's like, oh, this is your private deck. And I said, yes. Because I really hadn't realized until I started that when I started using the Spirit Tarot's deck at work, at my old job before I moved to Alabama, that everybody who saw the deck, loved the deck, wanted readings with the deck, and the deck was okay with it. The deck seemed to respond to the deeper readings, and it was cool. But from the moment that I got this deck, and I have to thank Benebell and her husband for holding my deck until I moved and got settled, I knew that this deck would be different. And when the deck arrived, I did a whole entire ceremony ritual to welcome it and to bless it and have it in turn help bless me in my house. So I realized then that this deck was going to be a me thing. So yeah, this deck is not going to be used for a reading today. Well, for like a big reading, I'm going to do one general reading here on here for us. But after that, no. This is going into my private study for private me readings. I made the decision without making the decision. It just kind of came about. So, yeah. And I'm okay with that. I didn't think it would be a big deal, but I guess it is. So, there we go. So let's talk about what we're seeing here. Okay? And we're going to so we have the Eminence, the Nine of Orbs, a swirling gale, no, the shining winds, the Giver, which is the Six of Orbs. We have the Vagabond, the Five of Orbs, the Five of Swords, and then we're going to pick one last deck card to finish us off. So one of the nice things about this deck, besides the fact that I actually love everything here, and she actually included this really cute and adorable little deck here, which, like, no, seriously, like this little itty bitty book. It's so cute and adorable. It's so small and portable. So if you ever take it with you, you can just kind of do like a swift little pull a card reading kind of thing. It's nice because it talks about the key to yourself and reading the top captions, and it helps give you ideas and thoughts. So for me, wow. It's a whole different aspect. Like the fives all have to deal with expanding. when you look at the 6 and the 9, um, and I look at the numbers and I'm like realizing that it is 15 and 10 is 25, so it's basically 7. So yeah, numerology wise, we're looking at a very interesting aspect too. Wow. I just think it, I think it's one of those moments in your life when you just realize that it's um, you just realize that you're in a new, in a way, ball game. It's the okay. So let's talk about this reading. Just from aspects we know, we're going to deal with a lot with more with orbs, which is like the pentacles. So we're going to look at more of a grounded feel. And by the way, I have my beautiful smoky quartz that came from my goddess provision box, dealing with the element of air this month. Yay! So it's kind of interesting that this has happened. So because the Shining Winds is all about the Knight of Swords as well, and it's about being the idea of winning a battle. It is basically yielding yourself to the established forms and framework around you, accelerating your activities, because things are becoming ripe for your advancement and to make great progress. But it also talks about, like on the 9 of Orbs, is the getting the fruition of your labors, of your hard work. You know, we've done stuff, we've invested in ourselves, and we are going to reap what we have sown. But do we feel alone? Because remember that sometimes all that glitters isn't gold. And I think that phrase, growing up, used to confuse me. All that glitters isn't gold. And I always thought that, like, well, yeah, no, sometimes it's silver. And my mom used to look at me and go, that's not what it means, Ale. That's not what it means. And I was like, but yeah. It could be marcasite. It could be... And Mom was like, oh, Lord have mercy, woman. And it wasn't until later that I realized it was more of like, grass isn't greener on the other side. You could be rich and successful and still be the most loneliest person at all, isolated in your own wealth. So it's that whole aspect here. These two cards are saying, be ready for success, be ready for all the things, but also be prepared that it may not be what you think it needs to be. Success as you define it may not be really what you're wanting. You may want a certain level of success, but what you're wanting is something more than what that success will drive you to. Be aware, be truly knowledgeable of what you really want. Which brings us to the 6 of Orbs. And the 6 of Orbs, which I really like, it says, let the karmic circle remain unbroken. Give to receive, receive but give back. It's the spirit of provision. Seek anonymity. The giver only shows a hand in the offering. Yet know this about the one of the many names for the giver. And Isidora, the giver of gifts. We see the divine blessings of Demeter, who gifts you with material success. When the giver appears to you, the spirit of nurture is all around you. Give freely, mercifully, and you shall receive freely and mercifully. So that's tagged into this. And I love that this is tagged into this because it's so important. It's a reminder. We may want success. We may be reaching for success and moving towards success in such a way, but we have to remember that in reaching and struggling for success, that can also make us very lonely and isolate us. We also have to give. In order to get, you have to give. it's like the trump card. It is the trump card of all things. It is better to give than to receive. We hear that a lot of times. And some people will say, oh, hell no, I would rather get every single day of my life than to have to give. The problem is that when you give, it creates a wider social circle. It creates a better reputation. It creates a better foundation of life for you. When you give, and you give openly and freely, you give of knowledge, not just giving money, but when you give of yourself, what you do, who you are, things that you can accomplish. Like, I teach editing, I teach writing, I teach a lot of things. I do my tarot readings. I do a lot of the stuff here video-wise, which I'm getting back into. This giving helps me to give back to a community that gives to me as well. And what that does is it reinforces the goodwill of the world. And by reinforcing that goodwill in the world, it expands the goodwill to others. Thus, it creates a larger community. And that larger community helps others in need. Therefore, my giving helps me to receive when I'm down and when I don't feel good. I will stumble upon just the right video that makes me feel better. Then I get. So that's the thing that we have to think about when you're part of this is, are you giving and giving freely and knowingly, knowing that you may not always be repaid in that moment or even right away, but later on when you really need it, you'll be paid in a way that you really truthfully need. So let's talk about the vagabond and the Hector. Okay, the Five of Swords and the Five of Orbs.